What is going on, everybody? Pete Simnetti here with the man, Dayne Huber, and this is part two to the prospects that should help the New York Yankees. Dayne, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing incredible.
Just so everybody knows, we didn't record this like back-to-back. This is a couple of days later, so that's why I'm asking Dayne, how's he doing again? It's not like we're in the same thing. But Dayne, you had a lot of great conversation based off the last video of the prospects you discussed. Today, you gave us a little hint. You said, we're going all offensive today. Forget the pitchers today. We're going pure offense.
Right.
You told me before we went live, we're starting with outfielders. So let's jump right into it. Take it away, my friend.
All right. I wanted to talk about the Yankees' outfield prospects that can affect the team next year. And some are a little farther away than others, but they're legitimate options starting next year.
Nice.
A lot of people aren't talking about Elijah Dunham.
Mm-hmm.
He is a left-hand bat. He's 25 home run power, 250, 260 hitter. And the kid is a winner everywhere he goes. He impressed out of the AFL, the Arizona Fall League.
Mm-hmm.
And he, even though he was undrafted, he just keeps getting better and better and better. He's not a star, but he's someone who's already had success at AA. So he's not that far away. He'll provide solid defense. He might be an option this year.
Nice.
Do
you see him more as a fourth outfielder type? Or is this somebody that could potentially be maybe a corner outfield center fielder?
Not a center fielder. He will never, he does not have that kind of range, that kind of speed, but he is an above average corner outfielder, specifically left field. And he's got a good arm. I think that he could be a regular. I wouldn't bet against that kid being an everyday left fielder.
Wow.
I don't know if it's for us, but he just wins everywhere he goes.
Mm-hmm.
And he exceeds expectations everywhere he goes.
And he won with AA last year.
He did.
Yeah.
He was a big part of that AA team that won the AA championship. He was hitting the heart of their order for the majority of the year.
Yep. And I saw him a couple of times live. He got pretty good speed too, right?
Yes, he has above average speed, probably 55 grade, maybe 60, but about 55 grade speed. Like I said, he's not going to be a star.
Right.
I think he could be a solid left field option. And then the other guy that people aren't thinking about in left field is Oswald Wells.
Interesting.
He's played outfield in college. He is not your typical catcher that does not have any speed.
Right.
I think he's the perfect 32 for 32 stealing bases the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He can move for an outfielder or for a catcher. The arm is always going to be a question because it's a funky motion, slow release, no matter where it is. But the kid can flat hit.
Yeah.
He's got 30 home run potential. I think he's probably he'll hit around 300, 280 to 310 in his good years.
Especially with that shift being gone now, it's only going to open up more holes.
Yes. That's another option that they could look towards. But then you get into the three big options: Spencer Jones, Everson Pereira, and Jason Dominguez.
Yep. Spencer's the furthest away, right? Out of those three? Or are you going to, Dayne, I see you. I see you, Dayne.
I talked to a couple guys, and they are absolutely enthralled with this kid. What we saw last year with Spencer Jones when he hit 330 in A-ball, they made no adjustments with him. That was just them telling him to go play and see what you can do. Over the winter, even Kevin Reese, our farm director, specifically singled out Spencer Jones as saying he's not as far away as people think. I think that he is one of the few guys in the system that has superstar ability. There's something called the Linden scale that they test on. Yankees use to test both athletic movements and baseball specific movements. He's the first guy that they've ever tested that had 9s in both categories.
That's that article you sent me, correct?
It is.
I'll get that in the description, guys. It's a really good read.
It is. It's worth the read. He's an outlier. He's 6'7" and he's got tremendous speed. He's the kind of guy, he might stick in center field realistically long term. Wow. And he might be ready later this year.
Wow. Where do you see him starting? You think they start him back in high A?
I think he goes to high A and quickly, if what the reports that I'm hearing about him picking up everything the Yankees are teaching him and excelling, adding a little bit of launch angle to his swing, shortening up his swing a little bit. If all those reports that I'm getting are accurate, I think he could even start in Double A.
Wow. So, I mean, from what I'm hearing myself and what you have told me, he really might be the most exciting Yankee prospect that we have in our system. Just his overall potential.
I have Jones and Arias as 1-2.
Okay.
As far as ceiling.
Right.
Whether Arias is 3-4 years away, but those two have superstar potential, in my opinion. I think Jones, one other thing people don't realize about Jones is that he had Tommy John surgery coming out of high school because he pitched. That affected his arm strength and the bat quite a bit the first 2 years. The people I talked to said it didn't really come back till spring of last year. And that's when he really took off both offensively and defensively. The left-handed Aaron Judge comps are there because he's more of a hitter than a slugger.
Okay.
He's going to hit for an average. He's not going to be your Joey Gallo type that hits 200 and hits 40 home runs. He's going to be a guy that has a higher average. He's going to steal bases. He has a better chance to stick in center than Dominguez, Pereira, any of them, because he moves so well. The arm is so strong. I am through the moon about him.
It sounds like everybody should be. I mean, from what you're saying, and then again too, the numbers he put up, and I think a lot of the Judge comparisons is really just because of height. They're both 6'7", so
they are. But then an article that I read, he performed very well in the Cape Cod League, just as Aaron Judge did.
Yep.
Playing center field. They both played center. They're both that athletic type that's super big, that they play much faster, much quicker than most guys that size.
Right.
That's about the only reason there's a comp there. Next up, you have Everson Pereira. I love the kid.
I like him.
The injuries are a concern. He has never had a full season without injuries. But when he's healthy, as we saw in 2021, he hit 20 home runs in less than 200 at-bats. He's got huge power. Last year, he made more contact than he made power. But the overall profile is high. He could also be ready this year. He finished the season in Double A.
Yeah.
There's a chance you see him.
The only one of the main concerns, per my understanding, when it comes to him is that there's a lot of swing and miss there.
There is a
ton of swing and miss. Yeah,
there is. The K rate's going to be 25 plus at the major league level. He worked on that last year, trying to shorten the swing a little bit, make more contact. But he got injured and then came back and then got injured again. Part of the reason why Dominguez ended up in Double-A at the end of the year is because Pereira was injured.
Right.
I think he's a trade piece.
I can see that. Makes sense.
That will bring back something really good. But I think with Jones and Dominguez ahead of him, as far as ceiling wise, I think he's the most movable of that group. I'm not sure. I think he will be able to play center field, but I'm not sure if that's his long-term position or his best position.
He seems like what he will eventually become is a corner outfielder with good power numbers, high strikeout numbers, lower average. It is kind of right now where I personally see him.
I heard a Justin Upton comp.
I can see that. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
I think that might be pretty realistic.
I can see it.
And then we have the superstar, or one of the superstars of the group.
Martian himself, man.
This kid is unreal.
Would you trade him for Reynolds? I don't know why. I just felt the need to throw that in there.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's continue on with the Martian.
But I gotta explain that. But I will.
Okay.
Hey, as far as tools, talent, the kid has everything. Especially since he slimmed down last year, the speed and agility came back. He stole close to 40 bases. I don't know that he sticks in center field, but it's not because he lacks range, arm strength, anything else. He doesn't get the best reads and routes because he is so fast. He uses that speed to close gaps instead of taking better routes to balls.
Right.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get away with that at the major league level, but I think he ends up with Judge being back. I think he is either your long-term piece in center field, or you need to use him to get a long-term piece in center field. He is realistically, with what he did at Double-A last year and in the playoffs, he's realistically has a chance to hit his way to the major league roster this year.
Yep. I can see that. I know a lot of people kind of count him out for this year, but if he really turns it up a notch and really gets it going, what's stopping him? You know what I mean? What's stopping him from coming up?
If he plays like he did at Double-A, he doesn't even have to turn it up a notch.
Right, exactly.
He already did.
Right.
And that was against the best competition he's ever faced.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's just got to go out and perform. And he could be ready end of the year. But here's my opinion on left field. Either Jones or Dominguez is going to be your future out there. You go with a stopgap, which I hate that idea with Rodon, Cole, everybody getting 1 year older. This is the year to win.
Yep. Great point. Point.
And I do not want to give up Jason Dominguez, but we need a real option in left field like a Reynolds.
Yeah.
And I think you could make a package with Dominguez and Pereira. And maybe send Torres somewhere for some pitching prospects and get that deal done. But Pittsburgh's got to get realistic on their ask. The Yankees are not giving up Volpe, Peraza, and Dominguez.
That's what apparently the ask is right now. It's like the top three. They want 3 of the top 5 prospects minimum plus, which is a bit insane. To be fair, it's crazy.
He's a great player. And Jason Dominguez he very well could be what Jason Dominguez ends up being.
And that's one of the points Dayne and I bring up a lot is I think if people sat back and said, hey, look, Dominguez's future is what Reynolds 2022 was. Mm-hmm. I think some people, the way they've been hyped, some Yankee fans would be like, oh man, really? Like he's going to be a 260 something guy and hit 20 plus homers. Most people in the organization would be like, great, sign me up for that. That's a hell of a ball player.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good point you bring up is, do you want to get that now or do you want to wait? So he can also be a stud. You don't know, but that's prospects for you, right? But
right, it is.
You brought up a great point. All these guys are getting a year older. You just made a huge commitment to Aaron Judge, a huge commitment to Carlos Rodon. Now is the year to say, hey, if we don't feel that you're a lock for this spot, truly, or we feel we can move you to put a lock there, I think you got to gun it. You got to gun it and go for it. You have to.
I think with Jones, the reports I'm getting about Jones, that makes Dominguez more tradable.
Another great point.
Because you could move Dominguez for somebody like a Reynolds or somebody of really high value, have that win this year, and have Jones available starting next year, either in center and left. If Bader walks, we get Reynolds. Maybe you put Reynolds in center field, you stick Jones in left field. There's a lot of options.
Yeah.
But I think that you have to go for it this year.
I agree. I don't know how you don't. And really, speaking of going for it this year, you got some infielders that people are very excited about and where they're going to line up for the Yankees' future. Yes. Some of those guys, may start the year with the Yankees already and be the shortstop, of course, second base, third base. Yankees got quite the open infield if not now, in a couple of years. What are your thoughts? And who do you want to discuss first?
Well, I'm going to start at the bottom of the system because I got to explain how deep our middle infield is.
Okay, great.
We have just this last year, we have 5 guys coming from the DSL that are all legitimate top prospects. Kiner Delgado, Jared Cerna, those kids are very, very good, even though they weren't signed as big names. Emmanuel Beltre is another one that performed really well. And then you have Arias. And then you continue up the system with Vargas. And then you get to Sweeney. I think Sweeney is a trade piece. I don't think he's a shortstop going forward.
Yeah, I can see that.
So when you worry about the infield, you have so much coming that if one of these top guys don't work out, you're not waiting 5 years for another elite prospect to come. That said, I don't expect either of Volpe or Peraza to fail. Now, when you get to those two, I have no question in my mind, Oswald Peraza should be our shortstop from day one. The defense isn't even close between him and Volpe.
Right.
And another thing people have to realize about Peraza is he went from complex ball to AAA in a year and a half.
Yeah, that's right. He was the youngest at his level everywhere he went, basically.
But he missed a whole season of development in that time.
Yeah.
Because he lost 2020. Imagine if he had that development time.
Yeah, that's right. Great point.
So he's still a very young hitter that's developing. We have not seen the best of his bat yet.
Yep.
The exit velocities, the walk rate, the strikeout rate, all of that has improved every year. And when he got to the major league level, he did not look overmatched.
Not at all. Not at all.
And
not at all.
We saw how tremendous he was defensively. I I have been against the Yankees signing a shortstop the last 2 years because I am so high on this kid.
Yep. I mean, also too, in the short sample size, a lot of things we talk about, right, is contact and things like that. I mean, he only struck out. I think the number could actually go down with him. Only about 16% of his at-bats.
Yeah.
Which again that's not bad. That's not bad at all right now.
Anything under 20 is really
fantastic.
Good.
Correct.
And he has the kind of speed that we also need next year, because with the new rules, stealing bases is going to come back into fashion in a big way.
Yep, that's right.
And he's also a guy that can go first to home, first to third on 50-50 balls. He's going to impact the game with his legs.
Yep.
And defensively, actually, not having the shift might hurt him a little bit, because he plays the deepest shortstop I've ever seen. He'll sit on the outfield grass because the arm is so strong.
Yeah.
And with the shift, he has to move in and have 1 foot on the infield. So that might cut down on the range, but that's how much range he has as a shortstop.
And we've seen it. I mean, that's the one thing we can actually say is we've seen it on full display, and the world's seen it in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
His first, I think the first ball hit to him was a base hit normally. He robbed it.
Yeah, that was that ball that he took backhanded, charging, and threw out Altuve.
Yep.
Coming in for a shortstop, a young shortstop, is usually one of the most difficult things they have to learn. He played that like he'd been doing it since he was born.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the type of stuff you hear about him, is that he could field in his sleep. That's where his glove is. So, compared to where we were last year with the whole debacle of IKF and Yankees putting him at short and all the excuses that he's one of the best. It's kind of weird too, because if you just listen to scouts and what people say, it's like, hey, Yankees, you guys do have one of the better defensive shortstops. You're just not playing him for whatever reason, but he's there. He's right there for you guys, to the point that even Brian Cashman, before the season began, was like, yeah, his glove is definitely major league ready.
How much better would this Yankees offseason look?
Come on. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to talk about how much better would they have been last year if he came up earlier. A lot better, but
that's what I'm going to.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't trade for IKF and Donaldson. You don't have that $30 million on the books and have just played Peraza. A Correa becomes realistic this winter if they hadn't done that.
That's 100% right. Yeah, that $25 million is not on the books.
Yep.
And you could put that somewhere else. And the other thing is too, like that you just bring up, that's something we spoke about a lot on this network here, is if the Yankees just simply came out and said, hey, look, I know that I know all these guys are available, but look, guys, we want Peraza to be the shortstop. None of us would have been upset. I would have said, all right, hey, look.
No, great.
They've had this plan. They're sticking to this plan. I'm cool with that. Now upgrade third base. If we move Urshela, then let's upgrade over there then. And you had options, dude. You had options, like you said, for 2 years in a row now. You had options to play third base. So, yeah, I wish they did go that route, but unfortunately didn't. And it does look like now, if he's not traded, Peraza is likely going to be the opening day shortstop for the Yankees.
Based on everything I hear, Bud, I don't think they're going to trade him.
I don't think so either.
I would be really surprised. They love the kid.
Good. They should.
They should. And
please don't move him up short. Not for Volpe, not for anybody.
Oh no.
Leave him at shortstop, please. Because that's one of the things that have truly irked me about the Yankees is stop messing with these guys. Put them where they're supposed to be, where they're best, and that is it. I know they want Volpe to be the star. I understand that because they've hyped him up so much. You got the Jeter comparisons.
It's unfair.
They want him to feel like Jeter. We'll put him at short because Jeter played in. That's where he's good. That's where his position is. But the best shortstop everybody knows on this team is Peraza.
Yes.
Volpe at second, as you said before, potentially third base. And you got your options, man.
And Volpe is the guy that I have concerns about.
Yep.
And
I hear the same thing.
I know that might shock people, but I look at tool grades And when you look at tool grades, Anthony Volpe doesn't have these outstanding grades that you see from most top 5, top 10 prospects like he's ranked.
Right.
He has a above average tool set, but people misunderstand the Jeter comp a great deal. It's not that he's going to be the next Derek Jeter. It's that his mental makeup makes his tools play up an entire grade or more. He gets more out of what he has than anybody else with those kind of grades.
Yeah.
My question is Will going to be enough to outlast the skill that he doesn't have against major league players?
Major league talent, yeah, major league pitching. I agree.
And I don't want to say, I'm not saying Anthony Volpe is a bad prospect. He's my number one guy.
Yeah.
He performs everywhere he goes. He's got a great attitude. He's an incredibly hard worker. He reminds a lot of people. He's a good guy, like an Aaron Judge type.
Yeah.
That for the fan base, which is another reason why you get the Jeter comp. But the talent level just concerns me that he won't be able to will his way towards being that elite talent.
Yeah.
When he faces the very, very best.
Yeah.
I do think his best position is likely going to be second base.
That's what I think too. Yeah.
I can see him ending up at third if they decide that they want a veteran duo or a veteran presence up the middle with Peraza leaving Torres at second base. Because Torres, as much as I'm not a big fan, he does know what it takes to play at shortstop. Or more specifically, what you can't do to play shortstop.
Right.
And we saw in the games that Torres and Peraza played together, they had good defensive chemistry. Think about that dive and that spin throw.
I remember, yep. The double play, right? Wasn't it a double play?
Yes, it was a double play.
Yeah.
They had good defensive chemistry. And maybe that's a positive. I've heard that because Peraza is Venezuelan, so is Torres,
right? So
is Cabrera. Torres kind of relishes the mentor role of his fellow countrymen. I don't know, but maybe that takes the Gary Sanchez out of him a little bit, and Volpe ends up at third base. But both Volpe and Peraza need to be on this roster as soon as we can possibly get them.
I think everybody just believes that Volpe will be held down to get the additional year.
I think that,
and they do have an excuse too. It's not like he tore the cover off the ball in AAA. He didn't. So they do have a valid excuse to be like, hey, look, we want him to start the year in AAA because he didn't necessarily tear the cover off the ball. We want him to hit there first before he gets here. And that's fair. Let's be honest. That is not unfair.
That's very fair. But on the other side of that coin, as soon as his AAA season ended, he went down to Tampa, and he's been down there working, prepping for this spring training competition ever since. That speaks to his work ethic.
Yeah.
You're not going to find somebody that's going to outwork Volpe.
Right.
I think that he probably stays down until May 1st. And then you see him up. Maybe they hold on to Torres till then and then use Torres to go get another piece around the deadline.
Could. Yep.
But they very easily could just set Anthony Volpe, if he has a good spring training, just put him at second base and go.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me either. And look, Hal Steinbrenner came out and said it.
Oh, he
basically said he sees those guys up the middle.
Yeah. I mean, he mentioned both of them by name. And Hal says something like that. You got to pay attention. If he knows a prospect's name.
Yeah. And the thing for me is he's acting a lot more like George this offseason, I think a lot of the fans, the booing and the criticisms, I think it got to him. I really do. I think it made a difference. And I think he's heard the criticism and he's like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, we got to go for this. And if it takes, did anybody expect the Yankees to have a payroll right now of $293 million?
No.
Nobody expected. No. Look, we could have all sat there, but could they? Yeah, of course. Will they? Hell no. But no, they do.
I am absolutely blown away.
Yeah, they did.
They got, and
he did it, I should say. It's not nobody else. I believe he negotiated both of those deals.
I do too. Actually, I was told that he was a driving force behind both of them.
I 100% believe that. No doubt about it. I know obviously Judge was, but I told people too. I said, look, I guarantee he had a lot to do with getting Rodon. A lot to do with it. I
was told that Cashman had very little to do with the Judge deal. That was,
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
All between him and Hal. He told Hal that he would give him the last shot, and that's what ended up happening. And Hal closed the deal.
Yep.
I think that gives Aaron Judge a little power over Brian Cashman too, because Cashman didn't want to sign him for that long, but they chose to go with Judge for that reason.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's relevant with prospects is Judge loves playing with these younger players.
Yep.
And I think that maybe with him getting some say into the roster, maybe he gets some of these younger guys up quicker.
I think he does. I really do. I think a lot of that talk about, well, Judge asked for this and Judge asked for that. He had some demands if he comes back. Look, Judge is not stupid. Judge is a player on a team that wants to win. He sees what we see. Yeah, he sees it to a different level, but he sees it. He looks at the Houston Astros and go, "God, we're not that team. We're not better than them. We're just not. No. We got to do more." And look, they go out there, they bring Judge back. Like you said before, they got Carlos Rodon, who dominates Houston. We don't know if he'll dominate Houston with the Yankees, but career-wise, he beats up the Houston Astros. He has a great record against them. So now you're looking at the club and you're going, all right, we got all these elite prospects who are just about ready. They're going to be cost-effective for years and years to come. Now we got to figure out how do we move some salaries, move some prospects, and get better. And Dayne, it's like you said earlier. You're 100% right. This is the year. This is the time to go for it. It's that simple. You must go for it. You can't sit back and hold back. Rodon makes us better. But that offense needs to improve. And it's not just Peraza. It's not just Volpe. You need to add another name to that offense to go along with these guys.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that they have to either decide if Dominguez is their future in left field or not. And if he's not, they need to use him to get that left fielder for next year.
Yeah. I remember Sweeney Murdy told me last year, the Yankees will never trade Dominguez because how much money they invested in him. I mean, look, could they of course they could just trade him. They could easily still trade him. They invest money in a lot of these guys. So they could easily still trade him. So saying that means basically you would never trade any of your top international free agents ever because they all cost a lot of money. So saying that you'll never deal them. But I could still see the Yankees dealing them. I really could.
Yeah, especially with the emergence of Jones, I really think that.
And I'll even go one step further on that. I personally don't believe that in negotiations with the Pirates, Jason Dominguez's name has ever been on the table.
I don't think it probably has either.
The only reason I say to this, Dayne, is because I truly believe if you look at the Pirates roster and you look at what they need more outfielders, and pitching. Outfield and pitching is their main need. They got it. They got one of the best young catchers in baseball coming up.
Henry Davis.
They got Nick Gonzalez at second base. They got Pereira in the infield along with O'Neal Cruz, along with Ke'Bryan Hayes. So they got all Hudson Head in the outfield. They got a lot of guys coming up still, even for their outfield that could be tremendous. So if you can add a Dominguez to that system, hell, I'll even throw another Clark Schmidt, who's available for years and could be a starter for them. Clayton Beater. These are guys that could make a lot of sense. Will Warren. These are guys that can make a lot of sense for a team like the Pirates. So I personally don't believe he's ever been mentioned in any deal like that. Because I think if he was, if you're the Pirates, you're sitting back there going, well, let's talk about Dominguez, and what else? we'd want this, and this along with that. And I think you'd really have traction there pretty quickly. So I don't believe he's ever been mentioned.
I think an offer of Dominguez, Pereira, which gives them another high ceiling outfielder, and a Beaters, a Warren, a Yandry, Gomes, maybe somebody like that. Randy Vasquez could make a lot of sense for them as a pitching prospect. I think that deal gets traction more than we've heard.
Yeah, I definitely think so. That's why I almost feel like they won't trade Dominguez, because I truly believe if he was on the table, and I have been told that even before Reynolds asked for a trade, the Yankees have been talking, and even after it, there's been conversations. So all you hear is that they want 3 or top 5. And basically what that would be for the Yankees is, like you said, Volpe, Peraza, and Dominguez. And that is insane. Right. They're not going to do that.
No, they're not.
Well, I'll go even further. You're probably going to have no club in baseball do that.
No, you won't.
So,
for Brian Reynolds.
And it makes it even worse for the Pirates now that he's coming out there going, I want to be traded. So their leverage is kind of gone in a sense. They don't have to, but it's almost like, do you want to keep an unhappy player? He obviously doesn't want to play for you. So do you want to get the most for him now as he has years left? Or do you want to let him play another year? You're going to get less the longer he plays for you. Make your mind up.
Right. And I think another possibility is they want to move him at the deadline.
Could be.
Because he did kind of have a down year last year compared to his 21 season.
Yeah.
If he has a monster first half, maybe some team does give you 2 of their top 5 and 2 more of your back of your 15 to 20 range.
Yep. I think you get teams a little more intrigued knowing where they are. And, hey, if we had a Brian Reynolds, I mean, I think you might have a lot more suitors for a certain price if that's the case. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's I think that's the direction that deal is going to go.
Yeah.
But either way, the Yankees have to do something in left field.
Yep.
And
well, since we got you on right now, I mean, I know we're talking about prospects, but what would your solution be to left field? I mean, that you're thinking of right now. Are you interested in even in a short-term guy? Like, would you take a risk on a Michael Conforto for a 2-year deal with an opt-out after 1?
I like Michael Conforto.
I do too. He's actually growing on me. I know people don't. A lot of Yankees fans are, no, please. I'm like, I mean, if you look at all the options out there that are left,
Brantley
in
just
the Yankees
signed.
lineup could make a lot of sense.
Brantley just signed back with Houston.
Back with Houston. That's right.
So that option's off the board. I really like the Conforto option. There's ceiling there that he could be a better player now that he's healthy.
If he's healthy, that's my main concern with him.
And
I'll be honest with you, man. Like, if you look at what Michael Conforto and Scott Boras are asking for him, that a lot of the rumor is he's looking for a 2-year deal with an opt-out after 1 to prove himself, right?
Right, a prove-it deal.
Michael Conforto had some really good years.
He did.
So the thing that worries me about him is, what do those medicals look like? That's my concern, because Michael Conforto wouldn't be signed yet if he's healthy. It just doesn't add up to me. It's weird. I was like, why would Michael Conforto, it's like, what, 28 or 29 only? He's still young.
Right.
He has prime years ahead of him. You mean to tell me there's no teams out there like, hey, look, let's sign him to a 2-year, $36 million deal. $32 million deal with an opt after 1. Why not? He's healthy. Everything looks good with him.
I was told Boras is asking for $20 million a year.
Oh, well, that'll change teams' opinions of signing him.
Right. And I think that may be playing into why he's not signed yet, because the medicals are a little questionable and he's still looking for $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cody Bellinger was healthy and he only got 18.
Right.
I don't think Conforto gets 20.
Yeah, I don't think he gets anywhere near that. Now, could he get a deal where it's a decent base salary plus performance incentives? Yeah, I could see that.
That's just what I was going to say.
I could see something like that.
A $7 to $10 million base with a, $4 or $5 million in performance.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Or you can even lock him in a deal where you go, look, that club option, you can have the opt out, but we have a club option that kicks in that if you have 450 at bats,
right,
or 500 at bats, or you reach certain goals, it kicks in for us to have you for another year. I mean, that's a smart way to look at it too. Because I tell you this, if somebody could come to every single Yankee fan right now and go, hey, look, Michael Conforto will play 135 games for you. Everybody sign
Take it.
Everybody would sign. You
sign me up.
You would have to be nuts not to take that.
Absolutely.
If somehow they said, hey, he's playing 135 guaranteed, you would be out your stinking mind and go, I'll pass on Conforto. No, you get him.
You get
him.
That is
one, with the shift being gone. Two, it's the Yankee lineup. He might bat ahead of Aaron Judge. So, I mean, you look at all that and you go, bro, you can't miss here.
And the Yankee Stadium effect with left-handers, he's going to hit more home runs too.
Yep. And I'm not saying he's my number one choice. I'm just simply saying for the guys that are left available, and if those medicals do look good, maybe the Yankees are better off going that route for right now. And it doesn't mean they can't improve at second base. They can't improve at third base. They can still make trades to get better guys over there to make their offense different.
Right.
But I wouldn't. I know I see a lot of Yankees. I don't want him. It's got to
disagree with that.
It's got to only be due to the injuries. I mean, this is a guy a few years ago that really put up tremendous numbers.
He did.
If he is healthy, he's really freaking good. And again, he's going to play. Well, he'll play next year. He's going to turn 30 on March 1st. Still very young.
Yeah, especially on a short. He's not looking for a long-term deal. So a 1+1 deal, you're not going to get killed.
Yeah, I agree, man.
I have one other guy that I think might be a solution in left field.
Please, go ahead.
Ian Happ.
Yeah. I heard a lot about him recently.
1 year left with the Cubs. He is a switch hitter, isn't he? I believe he is.
Yeah, he's a switch hitter.
Yeah. So, and he plays solid defense.
4.4 WAR last year, 17 homers, 271 average, 9 stolen bags, 342 on base percentage, 440 slugging, 781 OPS, 119 OPS plus.
That's a solid player.
Yeah, very solid player.
And I think you could live with that in left field.
Strikeout rate run down also, career low to 23%.
I think that could be an option. Like maybe a Torres for Hap swap.
Yeah, I could see something like that. I could also see the White Sox really interested in Gleyber Torres.
That's a good
I don't know what type of deal it could be, but I think that's a really nice fit for him.
They're shopping Yona Makata, however you say it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they'd have to get rid of him first before they would look to Torres. But I think Torres makes a lot of sense for the White Sox. Torres makes a lot of sense for a lot of teams.
He does. I can see it. Well, Dayne, awesome, my man. Another excellent interview. Tell the fans too, real quickly. I mean, what do you have now? Of course, 2023 is going to be crazy because we got the Yankees, and of course now we got the minors here at NyynewsTV.
Yes.
So you're going to be obviously busy when the regular seasons begin. But before then, what could fans look forward to?
Seeing my ugly face on here with you.
I know we got your breakdown videos of players. That'll be in the Real Fan Package coming soon.
Yeah. I'm going to do a breakdown on all my top 31 prospects.
Yeah.
Real short snippets. I'm going to, in spring training, I'm going to be giving you guys what I'm hearing about who's going to make it, who's going where, that kind of thing. And prospects change almost every day. So there's something new.
Yep.
It's hard to predict what I got coming because
who knows what. You may not know. Exactly. You may not know what's going on.
Right. But the content will be there. I've got a really cool interview lined up for a little bit later in the spring.
Nice.
With a guy who does not, he's from the DR and he trains kids down there, and he's where I get all that information. And
nice.
It is, the amount of knowledge he has about those kids is unbelievable. He already knows who we're signing in 2025.
Right. Dang.
And I mean, he's the one that I got the Roderick Arias from 2 years ago. And the Brandon Maya was a year and a half ago. He had that.
Yeah. Wow.
He knows the stuff and he's good.
Awesome. So to basically say, Dayne got you guys covered. All right. Dayne got you guys covered. That's
I got the minor league stuff covered. And you might hear a few opinions about the big league team as well.
Of course, everybody's looking for some big league opinion. So with that being said, guys, make sure you like this video and subscribe to NYY News TV if you have not. I mean, we're expanding our game every year, and it's only year 2. We're an infant. We're a little baby toddler thing running around still, and we're growing so quick. So we're like a friggin' baby Huey type thing. It's just really friggin' big as a baby. Okay, we're only getting bigger though. So until next time, guys, we are out.
See you guys soon.
Before it hits the front page, NYY.